Hey guys, Kyle the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my review for One Piece episode 893. And okay, even before I pretty much dive, I pretty much dive head, I pretty much dive into pretty much all the details of the episode itself. I'm gonna go ahead and pretty much throw my hand in I'm gonna go through and throw my hand into pretty much the into this big discussion that's been blowing up in the One Piece community lately, which is pretty much which has to do with pretty much the new opening and how it essentially spoiled the manga by by showing Kyoshiro in the lineup of the group known as the Red Scabbards, and that in itself isn't all that much of a spoiler to me because with Prince Oda and the manga, he's already been heavily hinting towards that already, so it isn't that much of a spoiler to me. But obviously that in itself isn't even the big thing, with it all. Obviously the part of this reveal that has been warranting all this discussion is whether or not that from Kyoshiro is from Denjiro, the one member of the Red Scabbards who hasn't been revealed yet, and and that's where I find myself at a little bit of a crossroads, because up to this point all of Kyoshiro's actions because that's the thing. All of Kyoshiro's actions up to this point, it definitely support the idea he's Denjiro, but at the same time, there's basically this weird part where I find myself believing, the even more likely scenario is that he's at some point in the past that from Kyoshiro and Denjiro had encountered and fought each other, and even before Denjiro was either killed or executed, he probably passed his card that identified him as a Red Scabbard onto Kyoshiro as his final wish, for the latter, as his final wish for Kyoshiro to in order to take his place as a member of the Red Scabbards. I think that's pretty much more that's kind of more the angle I'm going with, and the reasons why I'm definitely a little more in that camp is because Kyoshiro being Denjiro, the whole Kyoshiro being Denjiro theory, it seems a little too obvious, and when it comes to Oda, we pretty much definitely know how with him he loves to throw us for a loop. But the second reason the second reason for me is that as of right now, it seems like Kyoshiro it seems like Kyoshiro as a character, I don't want to say he seems indifferent, but with Kyoshiro, he's definitely got this attitude, this basically laissez-faire attitude, this laissez-faire attitude to pretty much almost the entire situation, and I can't really see him as someone who genuinely cares about about who pretty much leads. As someone who pretty much even pretty much leads Wano, unless of course everything we've seen of Kyoshiro up to this point is basically either him acting and just waiting for the right opportunity in order to join the others. But yeah, as of right now, that's pretty much where I stand on the whole Kyoshiro being a member of the Red Scabbards thing. I think he is, but whether or not he's Denjiro, I'm not in that. That's pretty much where I'm a little more skeptical, I guess you could say. Now moving on to getting into the review itself. The first thing I gotta say the first thing I gotta say about this episode is that pacing wise, it was definitely a fast episode, because the episode it basically felt like most episodes as we know of One Piece are around half an hour long, But this episode, it definitely felt even shorter than that. Like, as we know, most episodes of One Piece are half an hour long, and basically cutting out commercials that only reduces it down to even less than that. But this even felt less than pretty much 20 minutes long. It felt like 15 or something at best. Like the pacing was just that fast to the point where when it was over, I was like, oh, it's over. Like, yeah. So, and I think a lot of that just had to do with the fact that we basically in this episode we basically got a pretty much a really good portion of reveals and some pretty epic fights interspliced in between in order to jumpstart this part of the arc. So yeah, and of course the first major reveal of this episode is which is obviously if anyone didn't catch it, is that Basil Hawkins is one of Kaido's subordinates. And I know I'm spoiling the reveal, but with the anime, the thing is that pretty much the anime it pretty much already spoiled it. We're already spoiled it. Whereas pretty much with the manga, it left it a little ambiguous, and that's one of the things I will always say that with the anime is that it doesn't leave as much of us guessing. Like with the anime, it pretty much it reveals us. It reveals the character, like the silhouette of characters full on. So yeah, I'm sure people are gonna get after me for spoiling it, but yeah, it was Basil Hawkins, if you couldn't tell. The character design is just there, and even like the little details we can see on the transponder snail itself just kind of spoil it for you. So yeah, like Basil Hawkins is back, and he's and he's one of Kaido's subordinates now, and with this, but either way, with this reveal of him being one of Kaido's men now, it pretty much tells us how it gives us the answers to the question of what happened to pretty much Hawkins' little partnership with Kid after Kaido pretty much dived after Kaido did his little diving act. Although the one thing I will say is that both manga and anime, it still leaves a question mark over what happened to Apu. Like, if you don't remember, like when pretty much Kaido was when in the episode where pretty much Kaido was basically fully revealed, it was but with pretty much Kaido, both Hawkins, Kid, and Apu had like a little alliance going. But with Kaido, after Kaido's appearance, like obviously that relationship was dissolved, and Hawkins joined the pretty much Kid, and Hawkins joined like pretty much Kaido's crew, but as of right now, we just don't know what happened to Apu. So yeah, that's just kind of the big question mark there. The other thing to take note of in the episode is that Kaido he just doesn't have devil fruit eaters in his army, but he doesn't have like pretty much smile devil fruit eaters in his army, but he also has actual fighting animals in his army as well. And looking back on this moment of pretty much basically seeing Kaido's men like pretty much recruiting, like having recruited animals into his crew, actual animals into his crew, it not only puts a little bit more emphasis on the beast's pirate's name, but but with this, how much are all of you willing to bet that pretty much the reason that pretty much Rayleigh had left Luffy on the island of pretty much Ruskaina it wasn't just to develop Luffy's haki, but it was also to prepare him for a moment just like this one, where Luffy would basically have to fight more than just human pirates. Like, he would have to fight like pretty much smart weapon wielding animals as well. It really kind of just puts into perspective that this is something that Prince Luffy that Prince Rayleigh had been preparing Luffy, like even basically long before we ever entered Wano to begin with. And it just kind of feels like a moment where basically Rayleigh had basically known that Prince Luffy would basically end up fighting Kaido at some point, and maybe even and maybe even the Prince Rayleigh had pretty much had and maybe just a little prior knowledge of basically of what particularly it was that Prince Kaido was planning. So yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but it's the best I've got for this situation. Um, also, the episode introduces us to a new character, a new character, new character called who's called Tama, or basically O-Tama. And I said this when she was first introduced, and to a degree, it still kind of holds true now, which is that O-Tama is really just the kind of character who's the cute token is just O-Tama is just kind of the cute token character who's basically going to tag along with basically with the Straw Hats with the Straw Hats throughout the arc. But I will say her pretty much debut, it basically shows that pretty much Kaido and basically Orochi, who's the Shogun, are attempting to pretty much wipe out any manner of the Kozuki clan's existence on Wano. So it's a setup to show that yeah, they're that basically the pretty much Kaido and Orochi are afraid of something big happening. But yeah, the only other thing worthy of noting with her character is that the dango she creates with her devil fruit powers are a necessity that are going to help Kaido's plans of recruiting Wano's animals. And the reveal of her powers also really kind of makes me wonder if her abilities might be used in order to tie up another plot point in the story later on. Oh, and the other thing about O-Tama is that she pretty much shares a connection to a very prominent character in the story, but that's a discussion on its own for next week. Word spread fast that pretty much the Straw Hats and the word spread fast to pretty much all the Straw Hats of what Zoro did. And now it's really starting to become even more of a situation where the Straw Hats are going to be walking on eggshells from here. And it's funny looking back, but in a way, you could pretty much almost say that pretty much Luffy is basically free, is basically blame free, is basically free of basically any kind of blame from this point on in regards to everything that's going to happen to the Straw Hats, because Zoro is the one who just couldn't stay the fuck out of trouble. Like Zoro, he just had to do shit that would get them in this mess, like. Really, Zoro? Really? Like, usually it's Luffy who does this shit, but now it's you. Damn, man. Just damn. So, and I do have to say that art and animation-wise, it was good this week, but compared to the last couple of weeks, I will admit that the art and animation did kind of suffer a little bit of a dip as well, and part of that, if I understand it correctly, is that beyond this point, I believe the animation stuff is going to go through a little bit of a change up, but pretty much so far as I know, I think the director is basically still the pretty much same person, I think, but yeah. But yeah, guys, that's my review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Mr. Crunchyroll. Death Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.